Hi, this is Bill Johnston, Chief Community Officer with Structure 3C. We're here today to talk about the role community and crowd plays in an exponential organization. Before we can fully understand that role, we need to understand one of the key enabling technologies for community and crowd, and that's the global digital communications network. Current estimates are that nearly everyone on Earth will have access to the internet by 2025, adding an incredible 4 billion people in the next 7 years. This global network is the environment from which communities form, and in the last 20 years has fundamentally changed the way we live, work, and play. The onboarding of the rest of the world over the next 10 years represents an exponential increase in the number of global connections, essentially shortening the effective distance between any two people on Earth to zero, and providing access to the most abundant source of knowledge and innovation to have ever existed. The word community is often used to mean many different things, but the common attributes of usage are typically gathering around a shared purpose, some type of shared value exchange, and mechanisms to allow members of the community to get to know each other over time. Throughout history, humans have instinctively sought meaning, connection, and resources through their local community. More recently, virtual communities have augmented local communities and have helped people find and connect to peers, knowledge, and resources online. In our exponential world, new kinds of organizations are attracting and forming new kinds of communities powered by purpose. In fact, if you look at the model for an exponential organization, the top layer here represents the core of the exponential organization, which expresses their purpose as a massive transformational purpose. A community of those sharing similar massive transformational purposes forms around the core. And the crowd, which here is essentially representing everyone else online, is pulled towards the organization by the gravity of the shared MTP. In fact, some of the crowd will eventually join the community. For an organization, massive is at an entirely different scale. So this is massive, meaning attracting a community from the crowd, as we discussed in the last slide. Transformational is to the context of their community, or it could be in the context of an industry, a cause, or in fact, as large as the world. And purpose, in this case, is the collective why that unites and inspires collective action. So the dynamic of individuals and organizations, in this case, obviously exponential organizations, is the individual helps the exponential organization achieve collective action, all of the individuals within a community, and the EXOs, via community and crowd, help individuals actualize their purpose. The relationship between purpose and communities really can't be overstated. In fact, there's an emerging body of research that shows that communities can play a key role in the discovery, refinement, and actualization of a person's purpose. This actualization component turns out to be really critical because other studies have shown that if a person understands their calling or their purpose and doesn't have the ability to actualize that purpose, they're fundamentally worse off across almost every dimension of their lives. Further, if you think about it, if communities are enabling individuals to actualize their purpose, and that purpose harmonizes with the exponential organization, think about the massive and profound impact that can occur if everyone is collectively acting on their purpose. If we look at the relationship between the individual, an exponential organization, and MTP as a system, it would look something like this. The individual has something to offer the community, and it has something it needs from the community. An organization is in similar straits, but at a much bigger scale. They have, as they form and as the community grows, value to offer the community, but they also have needs from the community. Individuals are drawn to the massive transformational purpose of the organization, so that directionally guides and motivates engagement. And value is created through the exchange between the individual and the organization and its hosted community. So it forms a virtuous cycle of value creation. What does that value creation look like for both companies and startups? Well, it's slightly different. For companies, especially established companies that have been around for a while, they likely have many customer relationships, but they're likely not activated via any sort of network, specifically community. So companies typically find that customers who are community members are essentially more valuable over the lifetime of that relationship. For startups, it looks slightly different because they're essentially coming into markets, and community and crowd plays the role of really helping them disrupt or drive wedges into markets or even create net new markets. Their MTP typically attracts deeply engaged community members as initial champions. The startup is in a much better position generally to co-develop products and services with their community and crowd. And they also can leverage the knowledge, skills, and assets of community and crowd. But community and crowd for startups typically acts as an extended organization and can really drive rapid organizational evolution. Let's look at some real-world examples of how community and crowd can help create value for companies, startups, and even nonprofits. Dell's IdeaStorm is a great example of a collaborative innovation community. IdeaStorm allows customers and enthusiasts to come together to suggest ideas and develop those ideas into products and services for Dell to bring to market. Value research into the community uncovered a number of surprising findings, including the fact that revenue from members was 50% higher than revenue from non-members. Members of IdeaStorm had an overall higher lifetime value than non-members, and revenue from ideas directly attributable to being sourced from IdeaStorm was over $100 million. The Salesforce Trailblazer community is a great example of a company and customers coming together to create a community that not only helps customers learn how to more effectively use technical products, but most importantly, to help customers actualize their purpose. It has over 3 million active members collaboratively advancing their careers together. This is pulling people out of poverty in some cases. This is landing people jobs that they never would have had access to. It's a really amazing example of a large commercial organization doing good through online community. Nonprofits can leverage the power of community and crowd as well. An example, Family Independent Initiatives Up Together community brings together low-income families, both in person in their local communities and online, to help raise each other out of poverty vis-a-vis peer-to-peer coaching, local money lending in some cases, mentoring. It's really an example of grassroots community working together. Yovoto is a very interesting mix of crowdsourcing and community. So Yovoto is a community of over 80,000 global creative professionals that come together on challenge-based initiatives to solve very complex design problems, ranging from print design problems to architectural problems. The common thread in most challenges is some dimension of social good. One really interesting thing about how Yovoto uses or leverages community and engagement is the fact that the community plays a key part in the distribution of the challenge funds at the end of the challenge. CrowdSmart is a startup that leverages community and crowd and artificial intelligence to help seed stage startups secure funding and evolve their business models. They've had unprecedented success with this model and are currently beating industry averages for funding by 4x. So let's recap some key ideas. Essentially, in the next 10 years, everyone on Earth will be connected to the internet or the global communications network in some fashion. The community and crowd that develops out of this forms around an organization's MTP, or massive transformational purpose. Actualization of this purpose drives engagement. Community is a network of relationships attracted by purpose, or in this case, massive transformational purpose, and sustained by collectively actualizing that purpose. The crowd's essentially everyone else online with degrees of attraction to and engagement with the MTP. Community and crowd can provide a wide range of value, including assets, advocacy, ideas, feedback, knowledge, and skill. So that's a quick recap. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. It's been a pleasure. Again, I'm Bill Johnston, Chief Community Officer with Structure 3C.